Jaws was first released in 1975. Did you ever imagine people would be talking about it 37 years later?
No.
No.
No, and they didn't further than 20 years after. It was, in the last 20 years, 15 years, the internet, communication, and that it became this popularity. I mean, maybe 15 years ago, I started getting requests for, could you sign this, or can you draw me a shark, or blah, blah, blah. And then they had the festivals, and so, yeah, it's just grown, you know, it's pretty amazing.
What do you think it is about this movie that has people talking?
Well, there was a lot of, it affected a lot of people personally, the fear of the water, and there's also a simplicity about it, especially in this digital age where you go to movies and you see monster movies, and nothing against Transformers or stuff like that, but there's so much happening, you know, there's an abundance of visual stuff. Where Jaws was really simplistic, it ends up with 3 guys on a boat and a shark. And the shark is not a monster, it's a realistic animal, just a little bit bigger than, we haven't found one 25 feet, but we know that there's some that may be 19. So it's a realistic possibility that it could happen.
As the production designer, what was the hardest part of this film?
Well, I was given the responsibility of finding somebody to make the shark. The studio had said that it was, studio effects department said it would take 2 years. That was not acceptable because they wanted to start the movie the next year. I started on the movie very early, before Stephen actually signed on, to do concept sketches based on the book, on the galley sheets. So I was sort of early involved in the shark. I found a crew, coordinated with them, did shark sculpture, scouted the locations. So it was, and I didn't have a crew. I was just basically scouted by myself. So it was like Stephen, a little production people, just a few people got the movie going. And then of course the effects department, trying to get this thing to work that had never ever been done, a huge animatronic object in the real ocean, was extremely ambitious.
What were some of the biggest problems with the shark? Because I know that this film was pretty difficult to make.
Well, I would say the ocean itself, the salt water, corrupts the electronics. So when we tested it dry, it worked fine. But as soon as we got it in the water, the salt water started to eat away all the circuitry. So we would test it, it would work, and then boom, it would stop. And so then we have to bring it back, and they'd have to redo the electronics. So that was just constantly fighting the ocean. And the ocean is something that, it's unpredictable, you know. So that was it. I would say just the nature of the ocean, and this thing is just so big, it's never been done before.
What was your interaction with Steven Spielberg, and what was it like working with him?
Well, I'd worked with him on some television before, and I did his first feature film, which was Sugarland Express, and we had a very close relationship. We were friends at the time, and he was great. He was sort of a non-compromising young guy, and we both came up with this super ambitious, no miniature, full-size shark in the real ocean, you know. How naive, you know.
How did Jaws 3 come about? Were you gun-ho from the start with it? Or
yeah, no, I was kind of, because I had done 2, because I had a lot of pressure to do 2. I was associate producer, production designer. They fired the first director. I knew somebody I thought could do the second one, brought him in, and they approved. I directed 100 days of second unit on that, so I was pretty well done with it. And I was doing a movie with Zanuck and Brown, 9 months. They canceled it. I came back home, and Verna Fields, who was the editor now, she won the Academy Award for Jaws, she's the vice president here at the time, said you have to get involved with Jaws 3. They're going to make a mess of it. You got to help. So I came up with the idea of doing it in 3D to get some more energy into it, you know, because they weren't doing sequels. And it was hard. it was just a hard, technically it was hard. I didn't have a lot of cooperation. The studio was sort of halfway interested in it. And it turned out actually pretty good, and it still has a pretty good fan base, and it made a lot of money. So you know, that's what they want out of commercial movies.
Now, when you aren't dealing with giant sharks, what are some of your favorite films to watch?
Well, I like personal movies. I like, you know, good acting, you know, things like that. I like Woody Allen. You know, I like the one he did last year about Paris. I liked Hugo. I like Scorsese. I think I tend to be more for those kind of Midnight in Paris kind of movies, dramatic movies. Then the action movies. I did see the Batman movie. I thought it was quite good. But I don't gravitate to those. My kids do. They're 19 and 21, so I watch those. But I like good acting.